Now, we know that single-use plastics are a huge environmental problem, and that's in part because the bonds that give commonly used plastic its strength and durability are also the reason that it takes so long to degrade. Well, a team of US scientists has come up with a new technique which breaks down those bonds. One professor's called it a eureka moment. Here's Victoria Gill to explain why.
The new research published today essentially turns plastic bags into motor oil. It's a study from Northwestern University in Illinois in the US, and the scientists have taken a polythene bag in the lab, put it into a reactor, and with a clever catalytic process, they've essentially chopped it up into smaller units that transforms it chemically into a liquid. Now, this is a really interesting approach, but what's particularly interesting about this is that it's an example of a much bigger approach towards the chemical recycling of plastic. Plastic waste is building up in the environment, so many of us will have heard about that, and meanwhile about 1 million tons of new plastic are made every day. And while recycling normally uses a mechanical approach, so that means that each of the different polymers or plastics have to be sorted into the different types, they're then melted down and formed into these little beads that can be melted and remolded. That essentially just breaks down the plastic into the same type of plastic so it can be molded into new objects. Chemical recycling, on the other hand, is quite different. It takes these plastics and, crucially, it can take maybe a mixture of different polymers, different types of plastic, and transforms them chemically with a process like this one that the scientists in Northwestern have used into something else, into an oil, a liquid, or maybe a feedstock that can be made into a new plastic. So this is something that industry at the moment are throwing a lot of money behind. There are a lot of companies in the US, in Asia, in Europe that are trying to figure out a way to use heat and chemical processes to chemically transform plastic into something of much higher value.